Democrat Paul Simon said he had to win in tonight's Illinois presidential primary, and that's just what he did. Simon says tonight's win is a new beginning for his troubled campaign. Just yesterday, Simon was running neck and neck with Jesse Jackson, also an Illinois resident, but Jackson says he's not giving up hope.
A sitting senator in his home state of Illinois represents real strength on the part of our campaign. The Jesse Jackson campaign of hope continues to win.
Vice President George Bush claimed an easy victory in the Republican primary, beating out Bob Dole, but Dole says he's still in the race, and he says he'll concentrate on Wisconsin and Connecticut.
The head of the Federal Centers for Disease Control says that random AIDS testing is taking place in 30 states, including California, even though, as you may know, the practice is illegal here. Officials say blood samples taken for routine clinical testing at 40 hospitals are also being tested for the AIDS virus. The CDC says the testing is necessary to check the spread of the disease.
We find that there is a problem with infected women who may be passing the infection on to their babies. We can very quickly target in on what areas of the state, even what areas of the cities are most involved, and be able to set up programs.
Officials also say the testing will help hospital administrators check how their programs are working in preventing the spread of AIDS. Last night we told you about the debate over a state bill that would allow AIDS testing of some prison and jail inmates. Well, it looks as if that debate will go on a little longer. Today the Senate Judiciary Committee postponed taking any action on that bill. If it should pass, it would allow law enforcement officials to request that inmates be tested for the AIDS virus if the officer thinks the inmate may have exposed him to the disease. Opponents of the bill say it's clearly a violation of a person's rights. Supporters say it will give officers some psychological relief.
The vaccine that kept millions of children from getting polio may also be a boon to AIDS patients. A new study says the Salk AIDS vaccine may actually help AIDS victims live longer.
It begins causing a remission or a disappearance of their symptoms. That reaches a peak 12 weeks after they've been treated. And then within another 3 months, you usually see a very marked improvement in their blood test.
But there may be a hitch. The company that makes the vaccine has stopped delivering the drug to a doctor who's been treating his AIDS patients with it. The reason is overwhelming concern over FDA regulations. The FDA says it'll only okay using the vaccine on AIDS patients in another study, not in private practice. Self-esteem, it's a subject Doonesbury creator Gary Trudeau loved to poke fun at ever since it became the subject of a state task force last year. But here in Monterey County, supervisors have taken the subject very seriously, so seriously, in fact, that it decided to create its own task force to study the relationship between self-esteem and social problems.
Of course, we'll have such a composition so widespread among law enforcement, education, religious groups, that they'll be able to really sit down and analyze and come up with some type of a solution.
A number of local residents spoke in support of the task force, but still one supervisor, Dusan Petrovich, opposes the idea. He says self-esteem is something developed in the home and can't be created overnight.
Limited growth. It can spark, as you know, controversy at the drop of a hat almost anywhere on the peninsula. The next hotspot may be the mouth of the Carmel River, just east of Highway 101. It's the Odell property, and after years of discussion, it may soon be about to move from the back burner. The supervisors have now agreed to an environmental impact report on a proposal to develop 141 apartments for the elderly, a commercial center, restaurant, farmers market, and visitor center. So tonight, a first step, the $34,000 EIR report, which the Odellos, of course, will have to pay for. State water experts in Sacramento say talk of a drought may be premature, but only if the state's spring rainfall is normal. While runoff from the mountains is far below average, storage in reservoirs is down only slightly. But the Turlock Irrigation District isn't taking any chances. They voted now to cut back water allotments to farmers that they serve in the San Joaquin Valley.
And could there be water rationing locally? Local water officials are trying their hardest to prevent that from happening, so they're advocating that voluntary rationing measures be taken by Central Coast residents. Claudia Cowan has more on this story tonight.
No doubt water is all around us. Nevertheless, it is a valuable and limited resource, but so is personal freedom. So in an effort to protect both at the same time, the Water Board voted down plans to force residents to ration their water use and will take a more expensive approach to get us to make cutbacks voluntarily.
The board has asked the community to save water, to simply not waste water, use it as wisely as they can to help us through the situation.
And the situation, simply put, is this. Monterey is experiencing a water shortage. Buell says the peninsula's water supply is 82% the normal amount. And with no rain in the forecast, groundwater levels are expected to drop, creating a situation that could critically affect peak demands this summer. But rather than force water users to conserve, Buell says the board will begin a $600,000 voluntary conservation program, beginning with door-to-door distribution of these water-saving devices for showers, faucets, and toilets, devices intended to cut water use by at least 9% a year. But the key word is voluntary. Residents don't have to use the devices, so the question is, will they?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'd use it. I think it'd be a good way to save water.
I think it's a good idea because people should conserve water. And the state is low of water. We haven't had enough rain, and we really need to. We need to conserve the water.
And that's just what water officials are hoping everyone will say, and that these voluntary kits will leave local residents with both their privacy and their water allowance free of restrictions. In Monterey, Claudia Cowan, News Central 46.
Those free kits will be distributed to about 40,000 homes starting in May. The devices are supposedly easy to install, but the Water Board will offer assistance in hooking them up if necessary.
Certainly some rain could be a big help in preventing all of that. Well, Carl Bell will tell us if there is any at all in sight when News Central 46 at 11 continues.
And San Juan Capistrano has its swallows and Hinckley has its buzzards, but the return of the buzzards wasn't quite what was expected. We'll have that story when we come back.
We're back with the Ford Aerostar, and over here, come on back, the Dodge Grand Caravan. This Caravan has an available V6. Plus, it comes with front-wheel drive and a 770 protection plan standard. Aerostar doesn't. Caravan also has a higher customer satisfaction rating than Ford Aerostar, which makes the competition pale in comparison. So for great value, it's gotta be a Dodge.
Come see the visible difference during Caravan Days at your Northern California Dodge dealers.
Only one California bank gives you 24-hour person-to-person service with every checking account.
What was the amount on check number 302?
$78 even.
So now you can check on a check over Sunday brunch, only with Wells Fargo checking. Only one California bank gives you 24-hour person-to-person service with every checking account.
I need to stop a check now.
Oh, no problem. That's why I'm here.
Great.
So now you can stop a check and get back to sleep. Only with Wells Fargo checking.
Burger King announces an event of epic portions. Buy a Whopper combo, get a flame-broiled Whopper free.
You're free. Free. You've waited for this moment. Go, go, go.
Buy a Whopper, large fries, and regular Pepsi, get a second Whopper absolutely free.
You're free.
We do it like you do it when we do it like we do it at Burger King.
This Thursday is St. Patrick's Day, and all of California thoroughbred racing is declaring a holiday. And wouldn't you say it's about time you had a lucky day? Well, in honor of St. Patrick, we're going to give you more than a time of day, free, just for attending the races. Our gift is this gold-plated digital horseshoe wristwatch, sporting a genuine leather band. It's a $10 retail value. Don't miss any of the exciting racing action, and especially St. Patrick's Day at the Monterey County Fairgrounds.
If I say swallows, what do you think of? Capistrano, right. If I say buzzards, you might think of that bay back on Cape Cod. But unless you're from Ohio, you probably would never guess Hinckley. Yep, swallows are to Capistrano what buzzards are to Hinckley. Now, they think we Californians are nuts because we stand around each year with more cameras than there are returning birds to snap the annual event. But today, there they were, standing in the snow and cold of Hinckley, waiting for the buzzards. They waited and they waited. Finally, the cameraman had enough and left. Still they waited. And finally, we're told the snow stopped. Briefly, the sun came out, and sure enough, the buzzards returned. But you'll just have to take our word for it, since the cameraman left.
The cameraman.
But the buzzards were not dumb. They waited for the snow to stop and the sun to come out.
But the cameraman didn't return.
How about rain?
Rain, it's still out there somewhere, folks. We're still looking. It's probably going to come in with the swallows, which, by the way, they come in Saturday to San Juan Capistrano. And you know what Sunday is, folks? It's going to be a fun-filled weekend. Do you know what Sunday is?
Yes.
The day after they arrive.
The day after they arrive.
Spring arrives on Sunday, right?
Yes, you're right,
Yes,
George.
thank you.
Spring's on Sunday.
And that's it for the weather, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. All right, moving on to more news in the Middle East tonight. No. Let's talk about the highs and lows around the Central Coast and see what it looked like earlier today. We had lows in the 30s and highs into the 50s and 60s, and we're expecting some mild overnight lows once again, thanks to Mother Nature's protective cloud blanket that's over us. But daytime highs tomorrow should be mostly into the 60s like today, and hopefully we can fight off the sun and get some more sunshine along the coast. Currently, though, let's hit the streets of the Central Coast, and here are the temperatures for you at this 11 p.m. hour. 51 in Monterey, 53 in Salinas, and in Santa Cruz it's 52 degrees. Winds are southwesterly at 10 miles an hour. The barometer is rising, and the relative humidity is a moist 81%. From our far western view tonight, you can see instantly the low clouds and fog that are along the coast, mostly San Francisco southward. But then we get another one of these weather fronts out over the Pacific. But it, too, folks, is falling apart down across the southern end because of, yes, high pressure. Same old song and dance that it's been all winter long. As it comes up against that high, it's just falling apart. Most of it will go to the north. We may get a few high clouds, but we won't be able to see them because of the low clouds and fog masking the higher clouds away. Now, the jet stream, you ask, folks, will it ever break underneath and bring us some rain? Well, not at the moment. It continues to push all the way up into Alaska, dropping down across Canada and on down into the southwest. So we're not talking about any rain just yet, just low clouds and fog. And this is what they look like up against the coast with our visual imagery all the way into Monterey Bay, straight down to Point Conception, breaking away south of there. But even there, it'll move in later tonight. And we're just talking about getting socked in for the night and morning hours once again. So with all that in mind, overnight lows will be into the 30s and low 40s tonight, with daytime highs tomorrow rebounding into the low 60s along the coast, the middle to upper 60s for the inland areas. And by the weekend, I think we'll see less fog and warmer temperatures. So we should be kicking off spring with a lot more sunshine and less low clouds and fog. Across the nation tonight, we're going to be talking about parts of the Rockies because they're getting pretty heavy snowfall amounts for this late in the season. They've picked up about 4 inches of snow in parts of Utah. They're expecting another 4 inches before this clears out. Snow advisories are in effect, and they're also going to pick up more weather as this heads toward the Central Plains. Now, across the southeast, they've got freeze warnings in effect tonight because they had over 4 dozen cities and 9 states last night break record overnight lows. The coldest of those was in Calico Park, Arkansas at 13 degrees, and the warmest of those cold temperatures was 48 degrees in Fort Myers, and there's at least another 40 cities plus that broke records. Now, this is what it looked like across parts of Marquette, Michigan, folks. Now, you say, Carl, what's so big about Marquette? Well, since 7 a.m. Friday, they have picked up, listen to this now, folks, 38 inches of snow. They've got 43 inches of snow on the ground, and here's how it fell. They had more than, wow, this is incredible, more than an inch on Friday, 11 inches on Saturday and Sunday, a foot of snow on Monday, and more than 4 inches today. And for the season, they've picked up 200 inches of snow across parts of the southeast, now across the parts of the northeast, that is. Clear across the Midwest tomorrow. We're talking about some showers and thunder showers through the nation's midsection and some more snow across parts of Montana and on down into South Dakota. Overnight tonight for the Central Coast, our forecast is low clouds and fog. Overnight lows will be into the 40s, and for tomorrow morning, overcast and foggy temperatures again will be into the 40s, and for tomorrow, sunny inland with partly sunny skies along the coast. And for tomorrow night, we're talking about some patchy coastal fog with fair conditions inland. All right, there are your next 5 days. St. Patrick's Day looks to be, yes, partly cloudy with some sunshine. And on Sunday, I'd like to thank Girl Scout Troop number 415 for that happy face and flowers there. And for the sunrise sunset times tomorrow, 6:18 a.m. and at 6:16 p.m. And for the Bay, here it is, Monterey Bay information. Northwesterly winds to 15 knots, a 5-foot swell with waves of 2 to 3 feet. So there you go. Sunshine, folks, is on the way.
All right. Thanks, Carl. Still hit on News Central 46 at 11. We'll tell you about a big shock some Utah folks got in the mail.
And in sports, Bob Cullinan has the latest on the Cards' move to Phoenix, plus highlights of the best baseball rivalry in town.
Come drive a Mazda.
The Mazda Deal-a-thon is on. Your Mazda dealer is making great deals on the greatest lineup of Mazdas ever, like the $59.99 Mazda 323, 626, MX-6 GT, and factory-to-dealer incentives can save you hundreds on Mazda trucks. The Mazda Deal-a-thon, come on.
Come drive a Mazda.
Get a great Mazda deal today in Santa Cruz, Salinas, Seaside, and Gilroy.
Myrtle at Myrtle Beach.
Oh, what's that?
A McDonald's breakfast deal. Terrific. Myrtle at Old Faithful.
What's terrific about it?
Oh, it erupts every 59 minutes.
No, the deal.
Well, you buy any breakfast sandwich and large drink, and you get hot hash browns free. Myrtle on water skis.
Last long?
And 2 or 3 minutes, that's it.
The free hash browns.
Well, only limited time. Boy, here's something you're gonna like.
Free hash browns when you buy any breakfast sandwich and large drink.
Myrtle with Mamu, the kissing whale.
Hi, I'm Michael Pollock, Education Coordinator for the Monterey County AIDS Project. In February, KMST Television has focused on AIDS strategy with special news reports, primetime special, and public service announcement. But even so, AIDS remains a problem. So we're pleased that KMST and Community Hospital of Salinas are joining hands to bring a major health fair to the Central Coast, with proceeds benefiting the Monterey County AIDS Project. For more information, call KMST and ask about the To Your Health Fair.
Excuse me.
You're Vanna White.
Hi, how are you?
On the next Simon and Simon.
Why didn't you tell me that she was here?
Rick and AJ swing to the aid of a storefront lawyer.
She's trying a malpractice suit, and she's convinced that someone is sabotaging her case.
Who's determined to convict a doctor.
And I'll do anything to ensure that I don't lose.
With a deadly bedside manner.
Is that absolutely necessary?
On the next.
Let her go!
Simon and Simon. Simon and Simon. Wednesday at 3 on KMST 46.
I think if I was a member of the Cardinals, I'd look forward to moving to Phoenix.
Good choice.
Certainly
well,
a lot
this
nicer.
is the day that the Buzzers came back to Hinckley and the Cardinals flew to Phoenix, right? Or
There's
about
some kind of parallel universe thing there, George. Yes. First, there were the LA Raiders, then the Indianapolis Colts, and now the Phoenix Cardinals are joining the NFL. The owners approved the move from St. Louis to the Phoenix suburb of Tempe today, a move dictated by the size of the stadium.
For 3.5 years, I said that all we wanted was a stadium of approximately 70,000 seats so that we can compete with other teams. That's all I ever really asked for.
I think we've had a very stable league compared to other sports leagues. I think that any of you who followed realized we wanted to do all we could to promote stability of franchises. And we were hit with over $60 million trying to block the move of the Raiders. And I think we gave it the office more than any other league has trying to accomplish that.
The move was approved 26-0. The Raiders and the Dolphins abstained. Now, the 49ers will play the Dolphins in a preseason game on July 31st at Wembley Stadium in London. That is the word out of San Francisco tonight. The game must be approved by the Players Union, but that approval is expected soon. So, folks, as they say, make your travel plans now. In baseball, a double dose of bad news for the Oakland A's. They lose a ball game and a player. Cubs beat the A's 4-3 in Arizona. In the 7th inning of the ball game, Oakland second baseman Glenn Hubbard hit right in the face by a Jeff Hirsch pitch. X-rays showed a possible fracture of Hubbard's left cheek. No word on how long Hubbard will be out of the lineup. But that's the bad news. Here's the good news. Will Clark, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs. It is San Francisco 7, California 1. In Cactus League ball. And closer to home, the best local rivalry around, the MPC Lobos and the Hartnell Panthers today in Monterey. Not quite the same as, say, the Giants or the Dodgers, but it is the most important college series in our area.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked about it last night after practice, and we expect a real tough battle. We just want to have a lot of fun today.
Oh, we try to visit before every ball game, whether it's MPC or not. MPC is, of course, a rival. They're local kids going against local kids. They're on a roll. They've had 2 great ball games in a row, as have we. Should be an interesting game today.
It's another arch rivalry, just like back in high school when I was at Monterey when we played Seaside High. Same difference.
Well, we always say oh, well, it's our crosstown rival or something like North Salinas and Salinas High, and about who's their better ball players and who do we have to key on, and because we know more about these players than we do other players like San Jose and stuff like that.
Every game's important.
For the record, MPC won the game 8-4. Lobos will host Foothill College on Thursday. 2 basketball coaches fired tonight. Craig Littlepage is fired at Rutgers, and Texas cans Bob Wetlick today in Austin. And tonight in Atlanta, the Sixers and the Hawks. Dominique Wilkins, nice jam, 2 of 26. Now, is Dominique the best player in the game or what? Charles Barkley now maybe the second best player, maybe ahead of Jordan. Barkley with the block. Now Barkley running like a guard up to David Wingate for the jam. One more, Dominique. Watch it in slow-mo, folks. This is absolute poetry. Final Hawks 104 and the Sixers 90. Here's the rest of the NBA. Bird has 34. Boston beats Atlanta. Jordan 38. Chicago beats Cleveland. Milwaukee over Sacramento. Houston beat the Clippers by 6. Phoenix beats Seattle. And Portland upset the Lakers 112-95. I'm hurrying because I'm out of time.